Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. So today I want to welcome Sharon Eucce. She's founder of Packaging Chic. So Sharon, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really pleased to be here.
I'm so excited to chat with you today. To get us started, can you tell me a little bit about the company that you founded, Packaging Chic?
Packaging Chic is what I like to call packaging concierge. Basically, the services that I provide are helping brands produce the packaging that they dream of. Now, I say that because really someone might have a render or an idea of what their packaging should look like, but they don't know how to actually get it done. After years of experience in printing and packaging and in graphic design, I guide them through the process. A little bit like a packaging sales rep, but better.
But better, you get to have a lot more fun, I imagine.
Yes.
So how did you get started in printing and packaging?
Oh my gosh. It all started in high school a while ago. And I was on the yearbook staff. And what I found is a lot of people, yearbook is like the gateway drug to printing somehow.
I was one of the editors for my yearbook too, so I understand.
Oh, see?
Yep.
See? I ended up going to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and got a degree in graphic communication. And when I really had no technical background to get in or do anything, but when I got out of there, I'm like, I guess I have a big industry I can get into now.
Indeed you do.
Yeah. And through that, I started working at a small print shop, then a couple of larger ones. Then I bought printing for a graphic design firm. And then I got into the paper industry, the fine paper industry. And I had a career there for 20 years in fine paper. And that was just a blast. I absolutely loved that time. And then as the internet and email started happening, we were making high-end papers for stationery, for corporate collateral, for annual reports, car books, all the beautiful textured colored papers. Well, nobody's printing those anymore. Luckily, the company I work for said, you know what, we should try to sell our papers into the packaging industry. And so I got selected for this sales team, the luxury packaging sales team. And it was 1 year until we got bought out. And I didn't go with the next company that had bought us. And one of my clients, just in that 1 year time from packaging, said, you know what, we really like you. And they're a box converter. They're a folding carton manufacturer. We really like you. Why don't you come work with us? And so I'm like, oh, I might not have to be a laid off person. I never got laid off. I didn't even know what to do. So I went with them. But since I live in San Diego and since they're out of state, they did not want to deal with having a California employee. So that's when I became an independent contractor. Suddenly I was like from corporate to you're on your own. And that's how I got into packaging. Slowly, and then you're in.
Whether you like it or not, you are in.
And I do like it. And a lot of my paper people were saying, oh, you're so lucky you were able to make the transition, because the paper industry was still shrinking, if you will, and consolidating. So the conversations were always, I wonder who's going to buy so-and-so, or I heard so-and-so got laid off. It was no longer about, hey, we make beautiful paper. It was more like this panic, basically, and talking about stuff you don't really know or can control.
And that's probably the hardest thing when you have no control over it, and you're buffered by whatever those winds are on that day.
Exactly.
When did you start Packaging Chic?
What happened, I accepted that job at the folding carton plant. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be like a box schlepper. I'm going to be with all those guys out there who are losing jobs because I was a penny too high or whatever. And I just had this moment. This was a personal identity crisis. And I called a friend of mine who's a graphic designer, and he's, shut up, Sharon. You will always be my packaging chick. I'm like, what did you just say? People talk about, oh, it's a bolt of lightning that I just knew it was right. This moment, when Ron said that to me, that really was one of those aha moment or bolt of lightning. And so I called my parents right away. And I said, I've got the name for my new company. And they're like, what company? What are you doing? Oh, never mind, never mind. It's Packaging Chic. And it was silent on the other end of the line. And my mom finally said, that's a little bikerish, isn't it? Right away, I just said, oh, we'll take the K off and you can call it Packaging Chic and we'll be done. But I still say Packaging Chic because I hear Ron after almost 20 years, I can still hear him in my head. Oh, you'll always be my packaging chick. So there is the story.
Very interesting. That's an interesting way to get in. But I have to ask, what was it back in high school in that yearbook position that really got you interested in print in the first place? Was there something specific during that time that you said, this is really cool. This is something I want to do?
I I really had always enjoyed making things. My dad was an engineer. My younger brother, was building cars in the garage in high school. And I could take my love of detail and organization. I did all the layouts I ended up laying out the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was also a photographer. I was using those skills of design and technical, following the rules on how to get something printed. That was probably it. Little did I realize what it really took because you're a student, so there's a company handling everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great question. I've never really thought, like, why did I like that so much? But I think it's that combination of design and technical.
Mm-hmm. Because obviously it was something that spurred you to actually go and get a degree in printing. What were you thinking about doing before that? Do you remember?
Oh, you know what? I really didn't have any, I'm not say I didn't have any clue, but I applied 2 places. My parents went to UCLA, so I applied at UCLA. And I applied in art. And then the other place I applied was Cal Poly. Now at Cal Poly, you have to apply into the major. At UCLA, you don't have to, but for some reason I did. So I applied into the art department and they said, please send your portfolio. I had a couple of things from kindergarten that I did not have an artist's portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So almost I'm not going to say by default because it all happens for a reason. But yes, in some ways, how did that happen? Boy, I'm lucky.
It's such an interesting way for you to get into the industry and make that choice to go the graphic communications route and then just see where it's taken you over the years and all the different jobs that you've had.
Yes. And it just is so cool. When I graduated from Cal Poly, I was like, now what am I going to do? The thing about that degree from there, especially at that time, is, and still now, there are so many avenues that you can go. You can be an equipment salesperson. You can go into the marketing department. You can buy printing, whether a design for marketing in-house or there's just so many things. And I did an 8.5 by 11 sheet and just wrote all the different things down. I wish I had that today. I don't. I have all my old business cards from the various places, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't that less. And
But that decision tree for you, where do you go? Now that you have the shiny degree with you, what's next?
yeah. And it was 80s, baby, and there were no jobs. The whole thing was, oh, there's no jobs out here. And I lived with my folks for a while, which was fine. Great people. That first job was from a Cal Poly alum. He called and said, look, I know I don't have a big printing company, and I don't have a big job for you, but I need somebody who knows everything, quote unquote, everything. And so I'm like, I'm in. I'll go. I'll do it.
I mean, at that point, you have a basic, you have a foundation, because that's what they gave you in college. You have that foundation to build on. And you get all the other experience now that you're in the field. So you're actually working and learning as you grow.
I'm so grateful for all those people.
So, one of the things you mentioned when you were at that packaging company is that you didn't want to be a box schlepper with all the guys.
I
So, my
just
question to you is you've had so many different jobs. What was it like for you as a woman to be in printing? Because, like you said, you got your first job from an alum from Cal Poly that was a male. Was there a lot of representation of women in that point? You said we're talking about the 80s. What was it like then compared to now, and how have things changed?
I'm still active at Cal Poly. I'm on the advisory board for the graphic communication department. So I've been able to say, hey, here's what it was like when I was here. And the mix of men to women, of course, at that time was about, I want to say 80-20, 80% male,
Mm-hmm.
20% women. It probably was even less. It probably was 90-10. And that was fun. I've been down in college. It's all guys. I was fine with that. I never really thought that, oh gosh, there's no women in here. This is weird. Because from then on, it was women who were helping me. After that one guy hired me, a gal also from Cal Poly called and said, hey, you got to go to this place. Oh, this is a great story. They need a woman's touch in the production facility.
Oh, really?
Like, what the heck does that mean? I don't know. But, and I was like, oh, I can't leave here. This guy hired me and da. Sharon, go to the interview. And you know what it was? It was a couple of really old dudes, classic, old mechanical. We built this press. And I went there and I thought, this could be fun because they wanted some fresh person.
They wanted a fresh perspective.
Yes. And I think they needed energy because most of their freshmen were all under the age of 28. So everyone in the press room was young, and then they got the old guys telling them to hurry up and do this and do that. So I think I really brought a bunch of levity, and we had a good time there.
Obviously, you had allies and mentors that really helped to guide you.
Yes, and I really never applied to have a formal mentor, but I did a ton of networking. I was always involved with the printing associations or what it used to be the Craftsman Club.
I remember those.
And when you move around the country too, or to different jobs, you need this network. And I really didn't care if it was a man or a woman. So let's just work together. Let's have fun. We both love printing. Let's get it done. It's interesting to think back. Always interesting.
It is always interesting to think back and see some of the things that you did also through different eyes. That hindsight too is always interesting when you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, what strategies would you say are effective when we're trying to create environments that are inclusive, that people want to be part of? What strategies can we as an industry to help encourage some of maybe those younger folk to come in?
I found that if we focus on abilities, knowledge, really confidence, all those positive things, if we can support people in that, then they're going to contribute and grow within and allowing everyone who wants it a seat at the table. Now, some people, whether it's a man or a woman, just want to come in and click their keyboard all day and go home.
If that provides them fulfillment and that's what they want, then that's fine. But then there's probably others that want that seat at the table.
Oh, absolutely. So if you're a manager, you just really have to pay attention to your people. And you need to know how you can support them because they will be interested and they will support the company and help it grow.
How do you know how to support them best?
You've got to listen.
Okay.
You got to get to know the person, listen, and maybe provide opportunities to, if the person's shy or something like that, maybe there is what were the old things where you drop the a comment in a jar or
Oh, the
a
suggestion
suggestion
box.
box. So you might have ways that are anonymous
Mm-hmm.
and then some ways that are a little more open and come to this brainstorming session. No wrong answers. We're going to throw everything up on the whiteboard. And from there, you'll find who's interested.
So through your career, obviously you've been in all kinds of situations. Was there any one particular situation or challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome it? I'm guessing there might be more than one, but we're just going to pick out one.
I think one of the hardest things for me was I had a large client that, and this is in my packaging phase,
Mm-hmm.
I had a beauty brand that I absolutely loved working with them. The thing about that was they had a startup mentality. They're a big company, but they still had this startup mentality. You know why? Because they had a really great leader. So they were privately held
Mm-hmm.
and a big brand. I wanted to be on their team, basically. And I inserted myself so that I felt like I was part of the team, and they also felt that I was. So we had this mutual respect for each other, and they really took my knowledge, and that helped them grow. And most of the people were younger. I used to say I was like their packaging mom. I would help them out, and they got bought. They got bought by a large global beauty brand, and their culture changed. My longtime client contacts were eventually let go. And now it's completely gone. That business is completely gone. So that really kicked me. It because I had given so much and it was like, it's part of me. I'm part of them, part of me. And whoop. So it's been a rebuilding, but you always have to rebuild or you're always looking. Listen to the signs. What's out there? What are you feeling? Your gut is happening. So that actually allowed me to pivot to do more non-folding carton business. Even though I was already doing some, I was doing some corrugated, just only pretty corrugated, not the brown box schlepper style.
The pretty stuff, of course.
Yes. And so it's the turning point. And to look back on it now to realize, oh, that's why I got sick. It was a really big thing. So I leaned inward and leaned into my network. And yeah, I'm rebuilding to this day, offering new things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has to be a huge blow when you invest so much of yourself into one client. And then,
And they say never do that, blah, blah, blah. But I was having so much fun.
it's hard especially when you're that close to it as well. But then the question is, how can you not do that? Hindsight, do you regret putting that much of yourself into that? Or do you really cherish those memories and the experience that you had because of that?
Yeah, no regrets. I'm saying no regrets. But of course, you look back and go, "Oop, shouldn't have done that." But I'm not down on myself for it because I learned so much. I became an expert in how to speak beauty packaging and what my clients look for when they're putting together a project. So, no, I don't have any regrets.
Which is good. And like you said, you
They were
got a
fun.
lot of
And
valuable.
also,
You got a lot of
yeah,
valuable information out of that too.
absolutely. And my network. So those people, it's not like they died, Sharon, but no, they're going on to work somewhere else. And so I've had the pleasure of seeing them grow to VP status. And one gal just went off and started her own business. So this is fun. This is now, wow, I knew you when, and here's the photos to prove it. So it's just part of growing.
All those growing pains, right? Now, you've had a long career in print. And for a lot of people, especially women, managing work life, home life can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. Because I know a lot of people, especially I would say like when you were starting out in the 80s, A lot of women were still not in the workplace. They were home taking care of the kids, building the families. How do you balance those demands? How do you make that decision to have the career or to have the family or to have both or try to have both?
I really don't know how, but I can tell you that I was married to a guy in the printing industry. We both had our graphic communication degree from Cal Poly. I graduated before he did, so I jumped right in because if you go to college, you got to get a job. It was just like this mindset thing.
Yes.
It's automatic. Then he got a job with the Wall Street Journal. So the Dow Jones at that time, they had multiple printing plants across the country, and plants were different. Some were union, some were non-union, some were producing the artwork for the newspaper, some were receiving it via satellite. Wow, so modern.
Very modern.
At the time, it was like, wow, this job that he got was so coveted by the grads. That was a big deal. So we got married and transferred to Seattle. I didn't have a job in Seattle, but I had done that networking. We were young, so you're just trying to make it. I'll do this. I like doing this. You like making the bed? Fine. I like cooking. This was a really tough thing because his job was at night. So he would go to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, come home at around 2 in the morning. And so there wasn't much balance there. I got a great job at a design firm buying printing, which was so fun. There was no balance. We moved around the country. I always had to be the trailing spouse and get the job, which I always thought was cool because I had lived in other places. He had not. And the company supported you if you couldn't sell your house. First of all, they help you buy a house. You're 26 years old and you're buying a house.
Crazy.
The benefits there were wonderful.
Yeah.
So I would always get the job after he landed somewhere. Amazingly enough, again, thank you, network. I finally said, I don't want to live back east anymore. I'm going to go back to California. I already had a job lined up with a paper company. But he got a job in San Diego, and that was better than what my job was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Was there balance? I don't know. Does balance mean everything has to be equal? Or is it just, I don't know, you can achieve perfect? So we never had children. So we moved to San Diego, got the divorce, and then those next 10 years, I was single. So I could really focus on my career. I loved what I was doing. I guess I decided by not deciding not to have kids. But I married someone who had girls because I'm thinking, I am going to help these young women lead wonderful lives and be a role model. And I traveled for work, and since they were his kids, I definitely was the stepmom. We just figured out a way to make it work. It's not really about doing everything. It's really maybe more about doing the right things and setting expectations. Like when we got married, I traveled for work. So I'll try to travel when the kids are not with us so that I'm still present. Yes, what a wonderful journey. Travel is really important to me. So even to this day, I try to incorporate, if I'm traveling somewhere for work, I'm going to try to incorporate some fun with it as well.
Why not? You're in a new place. You might as well explore it, right?
Yes, yes.
So as we're wrapping up, my favorite question, no pressure whatsoever, is knowing what you know now. So based on your history in the printing industry, getting your degree at Cal Poly, all the different jobs that you've had, all the different places you've lived, and all the network that you've grown, knowing all that you know now, if you were just starting out today in the printing industry or packaging industry or both, what advice would you give yourself?
It's really a good question because it's a little soul searching, isn't it? And I would think what I tell people, or what I would tell myself still, is keep your connections fresh, stay in touch with people, trust your gut, and your instincts. Really, nobody has all the answers in the beginning or ever, right?
Or ever, yes.
Yeah. Find out what you're really good at, what interests you, and just stay curious, engage with your network or at work or whatever interests you. And that path will just reveal itself along the way. You may be surprised as you look back on it. Ooh, I took a turn there. Wow. Look how cool that was. But you really just focus on what you're best at, I think. Don't go around negative Nancy or Ned.
Whatever it is, yes.
Just stay with it and go after what interests you the most. You'll find your people will be there with you as well.
I think that's great advice.
Should have written it down.
Sharon, it was a pleasure spending a little bit of time with you today. So thank you again for visiting with me and chatting with me.
Denise, thank you. This was great. I sure appreciate the opportunity, actually for myself, just to look back and look deeper. I really appreciate your time too.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.